You think it's safe to say that it's not obvious that this method is going to perform as expected. And anytime you end up in this situation, it's a good idea to write some test code to verify that your code is doing what you intend it to do. So I'm going to add a new class to contain this test code. And I'm going to add a main method because I don't want to clutter my code with test code. The point of this class is to exercise this class, and specifically the getAngle method. So I'll write a simple method to do that. And this method is just going to call getAngle and output the results to the console for us so that we can verify that they are what we expect them to be. I think it'll be easiest if we just pass in doubles to this method rather than arrays, and we can just construct the arrays in this method. All right, so now let's find the angle between these 2 points. And output that to the console. All right, so we're ready to write some test cases now. I think a good first test case is going from 0, 0 to 1, 1. I'd mentioned in the optional videos that in Java, going from 0, 0 to 1, 1 corresponds to going to the right and down, rather than to the right and up as you would expect in a normal coordinate system. So going from 0, 0 to 1, 1 is like going from here to down here. And because the x increment and the y increment are the same, this is going to be a negative 45 degree angle, or negative pi over 4 in radians, which is what we're going to get the answer returned in. So we should see negative pi over 4 output to the console. Yeah, and there it is. If you don't know what pi over 4 is, you can take my word for it. Or this also suggests an improvement to our test getAngle method. We could also pass in what we expect the result to be, and we can output that alongside the actual result so we can do an easy comparison. So now I will also pass in negative pi over 4, the expected answer. So if we rerun this, we can see the expected answer and the actual answer side by side, so it's easy to verify that this is doing what we think it should be doing. Now this is just one test case, so this is really just verifying that the getAngle method does the right thing for these two arguments. You could maybe generalize and make the point that it probably works for all points in the fourth quadrant, but you should, in that case, still write more test cases to see if it does the right thing in the other 3 quadrants. And then there's some special cases as well. You want to make sure it does the right thing for pi over 2, where the delta x is 0. Actually, we'll just do that one real quick. I think that one's worth doing. So this point here should be pi over 2. All right, so yeah, it does work in that special case, but then there's at least 2 more special cases for pi and for 3 pi over 2 or negative pi over 2. So those would be 2 more special cases that you want to test to make sure it's doing the right thing. And then there's the other 3 quadrants to hit. So I think after you do those, that's a pretty good set of tests. We can be pretty confident that the getAngle method is performing as expected. But I will leave those to you as an exercise.